converting all your sounds of woe into hey, nonny, nonny.
Much Ado About Nothing is one of Shakespeare's most beloved comedies. It's up there with As You Like It and, to a lesser extent, Twelfth Night. These are the plays you show your friends who hate high school English class, and you try to convert them into being Shakespeare fans.
But it is certain I am loved of all ladies, only you excepted, and I would I could find in my heart that I had not a hard heart, for truly I love none.
I thank God and my cold blood I am of your humour for that. I had rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me.
God keep your ladyship still in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall scape a predestinate scratched face.
Scratching could not make it worse, and for such a face as yours were.
And unlike As You Like It, which I hope to return to in an upcoming video, Much Ado has two solid film versions from massively successful director to choose from.
The fraud of a man was ever so.
A pair of intellectual but cantankerous wits refuse to admit that they're in love. A pair of far less interesting but younger and prettier people are also in love. And a pantomime villain, literally called the Bastard John, tries to ruin everything for everyone. The play is really, really funny.
Do not forget to specify when time and place shall serve that I am an ass.
Hear, hear.
And then it gets dark, and it gets really, really touching. And as they pass from quarreling, which seemed really important,
I wonder that you will still be talking, Signor Benedict. Nobody marks you.
What, my dear Lady Disdain?
to love, which seems more important, to deadly odds, which is as important as anything can possibly get, and the terrible turn of events when Benedict and his good friend Claudio are set at odds against each other.
Bid me do anything for thee.
Kill Claudio.
They learn what really matters.
Oh, God, that I were a man!
How doth your cousin?
Very ill.
And how do you?
Very ill too.
Serve God. Love me. And mend.
Kenneth Branagh was riding high off the success of Henry V, arguably one of the best Shakespeare plays ever filmed. He recruited a ridiculous cast of talent, including Branagh stalwarts like Emma Thompson, Brian Blessed, and Richard Briers, and some Hollywood finery like Denzel Washington and Michael Keaton. Oh, and Keanu Reeves in one of his worst roles ever.
It must not be denied, but I am a plain dealing villain.
And some deep cuts like Imelda Staunton, who would go on to be the most hated villain of 2000s kids films, and Ben Elton, and some uggo named Kate Beckinsale, who I was confused by seeing in this movie the first time, when my callous 21-year-old brain thought, hero's supposed to be really hot, why do they cast her? My apologies to one of the greatest beauties to bless Hollywood ever. Much Ado is not Henry V. Branagh was no longer a scrappy nobody trying to prove himself. This was a sophomore effort of somebody trying to prove himself even more. For the most part, it really works. Branagh and Thompson are perfect. Washington is wonderful as well, and that's what you need from Much Ado. Two geniuses who think they hate each other and are really confused about why somebody else who's just as equally brilliant doesn't appreciate them. A quick aside before I go to Joss Whedon's version, the best casting choice I've ever seen was David Tennant and Catherine Tate in a stage version, maybe the best doctor companion combo in history since Tom Baker and Sarah Jane Smith. And I would never have cast Tate as Beatrice, who I read as meltingly self-confident, whereas Tate's on-screen persona is neurotic and frustrated. But wow, they do a great job. Tennant as a boozy braggart, and Tate as not your average groupie. Whedon's Much Ado is the passion project that any of us would love to have filmed. A bunch of friends in the backyard of somebody's gorgeous holiday home. Unlike Branagh, who went for a big-budget shoot because he could, Whedon got a bunch of friends together for a weekend and just did a fun table read. Joss Whedon takes away the big question immediately. Why don't Beatrice and Benedict just hook up? Well, because they already did. So the struggle in his version is the two trying to overcome an ill-advised one-night stand that leads to commitment. And the best thing we got was Amy Acker as Beatrice.
You have stayed me in a happy hour. I was about to protest that I love you.
And do it with all thy heart.
I love you. With so much of my heart that none is left to protest.
I said earlier that you want Beatrice to be meltingly self-confident, which is what Emma Thompson delivered. But Acker is meltingly worried. She's just as smart and aggressive as Thompson, but she's clearly worried that she's made some really terrible decisions.
Contempt, farewell. And maiden pride, adieu.
Oh, she is phenomenal in this. Alexis Denisof is pretty good as a cocky Benedict, but Branagh would be hard to measure up to.
They have committed false report. Moreover, they have spoken untruth. Secondarily, they are slanders. Sixth and lastly, they have belied a lady. Thirdly, they have verified unjust things. And to conclude, they are lying knaves.
Shakespeare often has comic roles that don't have a direct connection to the plot, or have their own B-story going. In Much Ado, it's Constable Dogberry. In '93, he was played by Michael Keaton, and in 2012 by Nathan Fillion. And though I'm a fan of both actors, and Dogberry's actually the person who brings the play to its resolution, I find both a little distracting. Fillion is playing against his own reputation as a smooth-talking doofus.
Darn.
And Keaton, who always excelled playing nut jobs, just comes off as silly. But,
well, you know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
The fraud of a man was ever so.
Much Ado About Nothing has maybe the least trustworthy title of any Shakespeare play besides All's Well That Ends Well. This isn't about nothing. Two best friends wrangle to get each other engaged, and then they're within minutes of dueling to the death. The Duke has maybe the most heartbreaking journey of any character in Shakespeare. He meets his ideal woman, who turns him down flat.
I may sit in a corner and cry hey-ho for a husband.
Lady Beatrice, I will get you one.
I had rather have one of your father's getting. Hath your grace ne'er a brother like you?
Will you have me, lady?
No, my lord. Unless I might have another for working days. Your grace is too costly to wear every day.
And then the guy who wins that woman's heart has the nerve to dare him.
Prince, now what's that? Get thee a wife. Get thee a wife.
It's all very fun, so I don't want to overstate the heavy stuff. Shakespeare is the best writer of all time for a reason. This play is fun and silly while couching in a lethal subplot. Just like Hamlet is a play about a depressed suicidal who cracks some of the best jokes ever on stage. Benedict and Beatrice are maybe my favorite literary characters of all time, and it's a genuine relief to see them find happiness together. Twice, in this case.
Tell me, for which of my bad parts did thou first fall in love with me?
For them all together, which maintain so politic a state of evil that they will not admit any good part to intermingle with them. But for which of my good parts did you first suffer love for me?
Suffer love, a good epithet. I do suffer love indeed, for I love thee against my will.
In spite of your heart, I think, alas. Poor heart. If you spite it for my sake, I will spite it for yours, for I will never love that which my friend hates.
Thou and I are too wise to woo peaceably.